Hello, right, so we're back again, walking around our neighborhood. People wondering what we're doing. Are we like real estate agents recording the neighborhood for our clients or something? I don't know. What do you think?
I know, yeah, we
Or
could do that.
definitely not.
Or like influencers, but I don't think we're cool
No,
enough.
not cool enough for that.
Yeah.
I think they probably see us and they go, they're go-to-market ops consultants actually. Because yeah, no one knows what that is.
No.
Anyway, so today, Chrissy had some thoughts around some questions that have been posed. If you're in go-to-market ops, marketing ops, rev ops, and you're seeing the pace of change, what should you be focused on to keep up? Like what are some of the skills and foundational skill sets that will keep you
Yeah.
kind of top of mind for employers, focusing in the right areas? So yeah, maybe you can. Yeah, is that right? Is that the right framing?
Yeah. And kind of be a bit like doing your own self-learning, which I just want to say I empathize, especially for operators and go-to-market operators. Like, you don't have a ton of time to just train yourself, but it is the nature of.
Well, you're saying people in ops are busy? No.
And then if you layer on like you have kids and you have a lot of stuff going on outside of work, like it limits what you can do. I know early on in my career I was able to kind of self-teach, but that's because I would use evenings and sometimes even weekends, but that can be hard to do. But
You also worked at the company Marketo that you were trying to learn, right? But
True.
like 15 years ago when you started, it was kind of like, well,
yeah, but it was always the next tool and the next tool
True.
and the next thing.
That's true. Yeah, post Marketo, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
So,
point.
but kind of no excuses really. But I think it's also a good learning. If you're early on in your career, no one's gonna bring the learning to you. You need to kind of do it yourself. But that's like any phase of your career. But it's a good time to capitalize on it. Anywho, so I think a lot of folks are kind of like approaching it like, oh, I need to learn this tool. Like, say it's Clay. Oh, I need to learn. I'm left behind if I don't know how to use Clay, and I need to learn X, Y, Z. And I think that is okay to think about. I think understanding a tool and getting your hands dirty in it is a great place to start. So if you do have the ability to do that, and I think Clay is a great one because not only is it like just a data automation platform that can kind of do a lot, you can hone in on like kind of your prompting skills and leveraging AI, different LLMs and so forth. So it's a great breeding ground for that. But I think that there's also just kind of some general kind of foundational skills and concepts that I think you should also be thinking about like mastering, especially as we go into this new phase for a lot of folks to do kind of more like go-to-market engineering, which is changing even the way we do, campaign execution or how we even think about a campaign. And so for some folks, they maybe haven't had to be as technical as maybe the new ways to think about, but a lot of it is also just strategy and knowing how a campaign should be architected and what data. So anyway, I think the first things first is like finding a good, few kind of resources that you can kind of keep you up to date. Like shameless plug, like you can, watch our YouTube videos.
Like and subscribe.
And like and subscribe, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Or you can.
Oh, goodness, we need to pivot.
You can, subscribe to our newsletter. But there's so many other people that are putting out great content on that, and I think YouTube is a great place. Any kind of Substacks or newsletters for some folks, like Justin Norris is a great one. Like find a few that I think will hone in on those kind of skills and your skill level, and then start reading them.
Yeah, you need to see what's possible.
Right.
So if you had to choose like 3, I'm going to keep it purposefully broad, just things. It could be a tool, it could be it's a foundational kind of skill set, it could be whatever. What would you focus on for the, you know, mid-level ops person?
Yeah.
Say senior, well, manager to director level ops, mops, go-to-market ops person. And we're gonna have a trash day coming up here.
Oh no.
So maybe pause for a second. All right, trash. They need to make electric trash pickup trucks, don't they?
I know, they'd be
Maybe.
so tired.
Could that work? I mean, yeah, they're pretty noisy, but I guess it's kind of hard not to be noisy when you're a big
picking up
truck.
trash, yeah.
Anyway,
I think the first thing I think most operators should probably have a good kind of understanding of this, but if you don't, it's just like really truly being comfortable with like data and data structures, and knowing that the main benefit of what I think AI can do is really bring in data that you didn't have access to before, or manipulating data in a way that you can leverage a bit better, normalizing, enriching it. Like, I think first focus on what you can do in terms of like data, but that also means really being comfortable and understanding with data structures. Like, you know, if you're, you know, managing your CRM, like all the objects, like how those work together, how the data should be formatted, what you can do in terms of how you present data to, say, sales. That's going to be most effective than how those tools send data to other tools, say like to your sales engagement platform, and how that can trigger off different workflows.
okay. So
I think that's number one.
so number one, data. Yeah.
Yeah, I think two is also kind of understanding how kind of like campaigns are structured, and especially like the outbound like kind of play, because I think that's where like the lowest hanging fruit for some clients are, is like how do we kind of reduce some of that human middleware with like SDRs and all that like monotonous work that had to be done to kind of run an outbound or a signal based play. And so I think reframing around and rethinking and challenging the way you think about kind of the normal inbound and outbound strategies and how that changes with AI. So just really understanding like how now with signals you can, one, either prioritize like your inbound and make the follow-up for that more effective, or second, how do you operationalize signals to be the thing that triggers off an outbound flow, and really think about it from a programmatic and a campaign standpoint, and then how you would basically make a lot of that process autonomous, like getting that data, finding those accounts, then finding the right contacts and plugging them into a campaign, making sure it's structured the same way you would report on your other campaigns, sending those people into a sales engagement platform, having sequences ready based on that signal play. All of that, I think if you even just think and through and master that like one kind of workflow, I think you're, you know, light years ahead, because that's the place where I see the most impact.
Okay. Number three.
And then the last thing, I think probably should have been number one as well, but
Yeah, are these in order?
I think
Probably
the last
not,
one
right?
is just really like just continuing to kind of hone in and iterate on like your prompting skills, and how you would get like your get more comfortable with prompting and knowing how to like understand the models that you're using and how to prompt them in the most effective way. I think this one is a little bit, I find this part probably the one with that can be a bit challenging, but you also can leverage AI to help you even get better at your prompting, if that makes sense. So I think easy ways to do that too, if like say you're a HubSpot client and you want to just start testing out just, you know, simple kind of AI prompt steps, like a great one is trying to just figure out how you can filter out junk from your form fills or contact us and auto DQ those. You can use like an AI prompt step for that, and hone in and figure out the best prompt for it, and really continue to iterate on it and make it better. So focusing on kind of little cases first, and then, because as you start to use these tools like Clay, like N8N, like you know, other tools where you have to set up a step where you want to prompt it to do something, you need to feel confident that you can do that. So I think that's like the third
And
place.
the more you use AI, the more you understand where the edges are,
Yeah.
how to leverage it, what use cases, all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know, you can listen to people, but getting your hands dirty is always the best way to really get your take, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What about number 4? I think it relates to data, but like reporting and analytics. Where do you see that as like a core skill set for ops over the next 10 years? It's like stacked ranked with everything else you said.
Well, I think now, I mean, the data and data structure, I think is a big part of that. And
Yeah.
then the second is understanding like how you can get the most out of AI is when you have a clean data structure and model. And so so that's why step 1 is really important too. But then the second is trying to figure out how you can leverage AI to be like an analyst for you. We just filmed a video about Claude Code and how we're thinking about doing that. But I think knowing that if you build like a clean and structured data model and you can feel confident feeding that to AI, and knowing knowing the concepts, like what you want to do when you get AI to run analysis for you is you need to give it as much context as possible. So
Exactly. And
I
that
think-
context comes from understanding your business, right?
Right. So I think I've talked about it.
That
in
could
the
be number
past.
5. Understand
Yeah.
the business.
I think I've talked about it before, but I talked about like context prompt, like contextual prompting, engineering. I think really being comfortable in providing context and how you can provide that in a clean and effective way, the better. But that's also knowing and how would you do the analysis. So say you're trying to look at a conversion rate from, sales ready to meeting. Like what you need to give it the context to know what insights could it drive, what slices should it look at to try and pull some of that data to get those insights, and then even better, like what actions could the company or the go-to-market team take if they see like a drop in those conversion rates, like where should you look? So more and more as we start to get the machines and technology to do a lot of those like processes and steps, I think we need to be even more and more comfortable and confident in knowing the strategy.
Totally.
And knowing the business context, knowing the sales.
So that probably is like a whole number 5, right?
Yeah, a whole number 5. Yeah. So I think some people are scared about like their jobs, but I think the more you can how you can future-proof yourself too, is really being that kind of more strategic and business, mindset. I want to say leader, but like
because then that helps you know what to do with all of the new fancy
Exactly,
AI
yeah,
tools, right?
yeah.
Like you got to apply them to the right problem. So
yeah.
that's where the
And to me, that's the fun part. Like always
Totally.
challenging also the status quo, because the B2B playbook is changing constantly. And so staying up to date on that. John Miller does a lot of great content on that. We do too. So yeah, those are my tips. We're back home. So
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
See you next time.